Why is Tasmania, often called Australia's perfect state, so sparsely populated? Imagine a land brimming with untamed beauty, where ancient rainforests meet pristine coastlines, and the air feels untouched by time. Yet, despite its unparalleled geography and climate, only a fraction of Australia's population calls it home. What's holding people back from embracing this island paradise? Some say it's the isolation, others blame the economy, but could there be more beneath the surface? Could Tasmania's remoteness, its Aboriginal heritage, and even the infamous roaring 40s winds play a part in keeping this hidden gem a secret? You won't believe how these forces intertwine to create a story so captivating. It redefines what we think we know about Australia. Tasmania isn't just an island. It's a world apart. Imagine a land the size of Sri Lanka, but with a population so small it's like the island is keeping its secrets to itself. Just 570,000 people call it home, compared to Sri Lanka's buzzing 20 million. It's almost as if Tasmania decided long ago to stay exclusive, a hidden gem tucked away at the bottom of Australia, waiting for the curious and the daring to uncover its mysteries. Walking its streets, or more accurately its winding trails, you're struck by how untouched it feels. Hobart, the capital, isn't some sprawling metropolis. It's a cozy harbor town where every sunrise over Mount Wellington feels like a private performance. Beyond the cities, Tasmania's landscapes take over. Ancient rainforests, wild rivers, and mountains that seem to hold stories older than time itself. It's not just geography, it's poetry written by nature. But don't mistake its quiet for simplicity. Tasmania's charm lies in its paradoxes. How can a place this peaceful also be so alive? The low population isn't a lack, it's a luxury. Here, you don't fight crowds for a view. You stand in awe, alone, as if the island has chosen you for an audience. It's a place where community feels like family, and nature feels like a guardian, fiercely protecting its untamed beauty. And yet, one question lingers. Why is this slice of paradise practically empty? Is it the isolation, the climate, or something deeper rooted in its history? As you start to uncover its secrets, Tasmania's geography and climate step into the spotlight, holding clues to a story far more intriguing than you'd expect. Speaking of Tasmania's unique identity, much of it is shaped by its geography and climate, a dynamic duo that sets the island apart. While mainland Australia battles scorching summers and unpredictable wildfires, Tasmania stands apart as a cool refuge. The island's geography gifts it lush rainforests and fertile valleys, places where the air feels fresher and life seems to move at a gentler pace. It's as if the island holds a secret antidote to the chaos of the mainland's climate. But this paradise isn't without its quirks. The rugged, mountainous terrain that shapes Tasmania's beauty also creates challenges. Settlements are scattered, clinging to patches of flat land while dense forests and steep peaks dominate the horizon. The landscape feels like a guardian, keeping human expansion in check and preserving the raw wildness that defines the island. Tasmania's cooler climate doesn't just set it apart, it's a lifeline for its ecosystems. The rainforests, some of the oldest in the world, thrive in this environment, sheltering species found nowhere else. Imagine walking through a forest where the air carries the scent of ancient earth and the silence is only broken by the rustle of wildlife. It's a reminder that Tasmania's geography isn't just a backdrop. It's the stage where life flourishes against all odds. And yet, this balance of beauty and challenge raises a question. How do people fit into such a landscape? The island's climate and geography have shaped not just its ecosystems, but its culture and history as well. From the lush forests to the coastal winds, Tasmania's story is inseparable from the forces of nature that define it. When exploring Tasmania's story, it's impossible to overlook its deep Aboriginal roots. For over 65,000 years, Aboriginal communities thrived on this island, crafting a culture that was intricately tied to the land. Their connection to nature was profound. Every forest, mountain, and river held meaning and purpose. This rich tapestry of Aboriginal culture is an indelible part of Tasmania's identity, even as echoes of the past grow faint. Then came the era of colonization, a time that reshaped Tasmania forever. The British arrived in the early 19th century, drawn by the island's resources, but their presence marked the beginning of a dark chapter. The Black War, a violent period of conflict between Aboriginal peoples and settlers, led to the near erasure of Tasmania's indigenous population. It's a sobering reminder of how colonization can uproot not just land but lives and legacies. Even in the face of such tragedy, traces of Aboriginal culture endure. From sacred sites to rock art that whispers ancient stories, these remnants offer a glimpse into a world that once flourished. Modern Tasmania is gradually working to acknowledge this history, with efforts to preserve and celebrate Aboriginal heritage. Yet, the scars of colonization remain, woven into the fabric of the island's story. This interplay between ancient culture and colonial influence leaves Tasmania in a unique position. It's a place where the past refuses to be forgotten, even as it shapes the present. But how has this history influenced Tasmania's economic and social development? That's where the story takes another turn. The shadow of history stretches into Tasmania's economic development, presenting both challenges and opportunities. Reliance on agriculture and mining has been a double-edged sword for the island. While these industries have provided stability, they've also limited diversification. Unlike mainland cities like Sydney or Melbourne, Tasmania hasn't experienced the industrial boom that fuels rapid urban growth. This economic gap often leads to a brain drain, as ambitious young Tasmanians leave for mainland Australia in search of greater opportunities. The allure of thriving metropolises with bustling job markets is hard to resist. Meanwhile, Tasmania's smaller economy struggles to keep pace, even as it clings to industries that have defined it for generations. And yet, there's resilience in this challenge. Tasmania's economy, while modest, is deeply tied to the land. Its wines, produce, and artisanal goods are world-renowned, showcasing the island's ability to turn its geography into a strength. There's a quiet revolution happening, as local businesses and industries lean into Tasmania's unique offerings to carve out a niche in global markets. This delicate balance raises a larger question. How does Tasmania navigate its geographic isolation? To dive deeper into this and other untold stories, don't just watch. Join the journey by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications. There's so much more to uncover, and you won't want to miss it. Tasmania's story takes an intriguing turn when you consider its geographic isolation. Separated from mainland Australia by the 240-kilometer-wide Bay Strait, the island feels like a world apart. This physical barrier has shaped not only its culture, but also its development. The isolation fosters a sense of exclusivity, but it also creates logistical challenges that ripple through its economy and daily life. This separation means that Tasmania often operates on its own terms, for better or worse. Imported goods take longer to arrive, and shipping costs can make essentials more expensive. Yet, this very isolation has protected Tasmania from overdevelopment, preserving its stunning landscapes and unique biodiversity. It's a double-edged sword, where the challenges come hand in hand with priceless rewards. Even the climate plays into this isolation. The Bay Strait serves as both a moat and a shield, cooling Tasmania's weather compared to the mainland. This cooler climate attracts those seeking refuge from the scorching Australian summers, but it can also deter those who thrive on the bustling energy of big cities. It's as if Tasmania chooses its inhabitants carefully, favoring those who appreciate its slower, more deliberate pace of life. And then there's the psychological distance. Tasmania isn't just physically removed. It feels like a place apart, a land where the past and present intermingle. But how does this sense of separation shape the island's relationship with the forces of nature, like the roaring winds that define its coasts? That's where the next chapter of this story unfolds. The infamous Roaring Forties winds play a pivotal role in Tasmania's climate and character. These powerful westerlies, sweeping across the southern hemisphere, hit Tasmania with full force, shaping its rugged landscapes and weather patterns. The winds, relentless and untamed, have become a defining feature of the island, influencing everything from agriculture to energy production. While these winds bring challenges, they also present opportunities. Tasmania has tapped into their potential to pioneer renewable energy initiatives, particularly wind power. The Roaring Forties aren't just a force of nature. They're a resource, turning the island into a leader in sustainable energy. It's a striking example of how adversity can be transformed into innovation, with Tasmania harnessing the very elements that make life here so distinct. But the Roaring Forties don't just shape the environment. They leave their mark on the people. The winds can feel unyielding, a constant reminder of nature's dominance. Yet, they also instill resilience in those who call Tasmania home. Living in harmony with such powerful forces has forged a connection between the island's inhabitants and their surroundings, a bond that's rare in today's world. As the winds continue to carve their story into Tasmania's landscape, they also raise questions about the island's future. How will Tasmania balance the opportunities these winds bring with the challenges they pose? This dynamic dance between nature and progress sets the stage for even more fascinating discoveries. Tasmania's story leaves us with a lingering question. How does such a perfect place remain so undiscovered? From its breathtaking geography to its deep historical roots, the island offers treasures few take the time to explore. But now you've uncovered some of its secrets, a glimpse into the forces that make Tasmania both extraordinary and enigmatic. Doesn't it feel like you've joined a circle of those who see the world just a little differently? This knowledge isn't just fascinating, it's transformative. Imagine how much more there is to uncover about Tasmania, Australia, and beyond. What other hidden stories could reshape the way you view the world? If you've ever wondered what it feels like to be part of a select group who dares to seek out these answers, this is your chance. Don't stop here. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Let's continue uncovering the mysteries of our world, one extraordinary story at a time. Who knows? The next discovery might just change your perspective forever.